One of the first things you want to do with any dog that you're working with, it doesn't matter if you're working with basic obedience, pet training, or you're doing competitive obedience, search and rescue, protection dog training, you always want to start with engagement. The way that we teach this is we say the marker, then we deliver the reward. And when I'm starting out, I'm going to hold my hand next to my face. I want to get my dog or my puppy used to looking up at me. And in the very beginning, they're going to be looking at our hand because they know that our hand is holding the treats. So we're going to start off simply by holding our hand by our face, getting our dog or our puppy to look up at us. And when they look up at us, all we're asking for is that engagement. I want the dog to be looking at me. When the dog looks at me, I'm going to make my marker sound, then I'm going to deliver the reward. And then when the puppy eats it and looks at me again, I'm going to use my other marker, the terminal marker, and I'm going to move back, encouraging my dog to come to me to get the reward. Now, the two that I like to use is yes for my continuation marker, and I like to use free for my terminal marker. Now, don't get confused by the words. These are markers. They let the dog know that something's going to happen. I'm using the word free because I don't use it in normal conversation. A lot of people will use the word okay, but we use okay too frequently in normal conversations, and you might accidentally release your dog from a stay position without realizing it. So I use the word free, and every dog that I work with, when I say free, that dog knows they did the behavior correctly and they're going to get a reward. So I'm going to be demonstrating with Derby here. Derby is a golden retriever puppy, and this is going to be the first step. I'm going to start with my hands by my face, making it fun and trying to stay really engaged with Derby. Okay? So here we go. Derby, come on, buddy. All right, so I'm going to give him a treat, let him know I have some food. Good job. And whatever you need to do to get your dog's attention and get them looking up at you. A lot of times, people will just stand and the dog is distracted by everything else going on, and they don't know why the dog's not looking. If I need to, I'll let the dog know I have some food. Then I will bring my hands up to my face. Yes. Then I'm going to reward. He looks at me again. Free. Then I'm going to move back. Good boy. Nice job. I'm going to bring him back over to me. Yes. Reward. Making sure I say the marker sound when he's looking at me. Free. And then movement. Good boy. Very nice. Come here, buddy. Come on, good boy. Again, show him I have the food. Yes. Then reward. Notice there's a pause between free and the movement. This is very important. Pause between yes and the movement. Free, movement. Another detail is I'm changing my hands. When we work with a dog, we want to change, yes, our delivery hand because we don't want our dog to focus free on one single hand. A lot of dogs, if they learn that the food always comes from the right hand, they're going to focus on the right hand. Come here, buddy. Go, boy. Yes, reward. Free, movement. Good boy, very nice. Now, when we're doing this exercise, we want to continue doing this exercise until our dog becomes conditioned to the sound, meaning they know that when they hear you say yes or they hear you say free or whatever sound it is you decide to use, that your dog becomes excited simply because they know that a reward is coming. Good boy. And when I'm working on getting them conditioned, yes, the food comes immediately after I say the marker. But when I'm testing to see if the dog is conditioned, yes, and I'll wait to see a change of behavior. Now, he's not conditioned yet, so he actually just coughed. Yes. See, no change of behavior. That shows me he's not conditioned yet. When a dog is conditioned, we will see a change of behavior. Okay, so this is going to be our first step for engagement training. Remember, we hold our hand by our face. We make sure we say the sound when the dog is looking at us, and then we move after we say the sound. The sound must completely be out of our mouth before we deliver the reward. Same with the free or the terminal marker. When we make that sound, remember we're moving back, encouraging our dog or our puppy to come get the reward from us. This is going to teach the dog, yes means I'm bringing it to you, free means you come and get the reward. Yes, reward, good girl. Free, good, come on baby. Very nice. Excellent, come on sweetie. Drop the piece. Yes, reward. Make sure you're switching hands. Free, movement. So I'm going to use the right hand. Come on, baby. And then go back to the left. Yes, reward. Remember to make sure there's always that pause. Don't pair your physical with your verbal. So don't do this. Yes, even though it looks very similar. Free. Right there, I paired it. So that's the incorrect way. You want to make sure the word completely leaves your mouth. Yes, before you deliver the reward and before you move. Free, and then movement. Good girl. Excellent. Yes, reward. Good girl. Free, movement. Yay, very nice. Good, come on, sweetie. Yes, reward. Good girl. Free, movement. Yes, good boy. Free. Very nice. Yes. Well, get it, buddy. Free. Good. Yes. Free. Yes. Free. Yes. So he does the pause. He moves the pause. And that shows me that he understands that yes means he's going to get a reward, and he's getting excited because he's anticipating the treat. Same thing with his terminal marker. Free. So you can see a change of behavior when I give him that marker sound, and that shows me that he's conditioned. Yes. Good boy. Excellent. Oops, dropped it. Everybody. Free. Good. Very nice. So he's conditioned to it, and I'm going to bring out Ari next. Again, yes, reward. Free, movement. Good. Yes, reward. Free, movement. Good girl, come on. Yes, reward. Free, movement. So now I want you to get a close-up of Charlie, or not Charlie, Ari rather, and you can see her change of behavior. She's also conditioned to the markers, but hers is a little bit more subtle than Charlie's. Yes. So you see she does a little bit of a movement. Free. And with free, she jumps up because she's ready to get the reward. And I often reward her free, where I'll have her jump up. So it's however you condition your dog. But we want to make sure before we move on to the next step, yes, that our dog is conditioned to the sound. You can see on that one, she kind of closed her mouth a little bit. Yes. She's so cute. Free, and then movement. Excellent. Yes. Reward. Good boy. Free. Come on. Good. And I messed up there because he wasn't looking at me when I said it. Yes. Good. Free. Movement. Good. Yes. Free. Excellent job, buddy. Come here, big guy. Hero. Yes. Free. And that's him offering up behaviors. Yes. Free. Very good, buddy. Hero. Yes. Free. Good. Yes. Free. If you want to take your markers to the next level, you want to start teaching your dog to look directly at your face and not your hands. In the beginning, we keep our hands by our face because we know our dogs are looking at the food that's in our hands. But we want them to understand it's looking up at our face. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to hold the food by our face and we're going to slowly move one hand away from our face. And if our dog follows the hand, we're not going to reward them. But you can see she's still looking at my face. Yes, I mark and then I reward. And I'm going to do the same thing with my other hand. I bring it outwards. She looked at it for a second, but she's still looking at my face. Yes, and then reward. And lastly, we're going to bring both hands out. Yes. Again, wanting or trying to get them to continue looking up. Now, what a lot of your dogs will do is they will follow one of the hands. Yes. She's already been taught on this behavior, so she knows it. But we can add more. We can start moving our hands around, shaking them by their face. And we want them to continue looking up at our face, making eye contact. Yes. Yes. Good girl. And the final picture for this is being able to walk backwards with your dog in front of you. Come. Looking up at you. So you can see she's walking in front of me and she's looking up at my face. And that's going to be the final picture that I want with this exercise for more of our advanced obedience. Free. Good girl. So again, we have our hands by our face. Move it away. You see he's following it, but he looked back at my face. Yes. Yes. That time you saw how I waited for him to look back at my face. Yes. And that's probably what most of you will see. Yes. Good boy. Yes. You just have to make sure you time it correctly so you're not saying yes when he's looking at your hand. Yes. Good. Very nice, buddy. He's a very high energy, very excited pup. Yes. Good. Nice job, buddy. All right, and that's going to be our marker training. All right, are we ready to start training and working with our pups? We're going to start developing the markers. We're going to do what's called engagement training, or it's also known as loading the markers. Again, different dog trainers and different groups of dog trainers will use different types of terminology, but both of these really mean the same thing. Engagement training, loading the marker. Remember, the marker is the condition reinforcer. It's the word or sound that predicts the reward. Some people also call this a bridge, but the reason why a lot of people call it a marker, I like to call it a marker, is because it is signifying that we are marking a moment in time when our dog is right or wrong, verbally or with our clicker. And that's going to mark those behaviors, and that means the dog is going to want to repeat the behavior. So if somebody ever tells you, did you mark that behavior? What they mean is, did you use your marker or your bridge or your condition reinforcer? Again, all three of those are the same thing. So let's say we're using the word yes. The moment your dog's butt hits the ground, yes, I just marked that behavior. Now the dog knows that that's a behavior I want them to repeat. I can reach into my vest and I can give the dog a piece of food for doing that behavior. And even though the food came several seconds after the dog did the sit behavior I was asking for, they know whatever they were doing when they heard that sound is what they're being rewarded for. And the reason why I like to call this exercise engagement training is during this step, I'm not asking the dog to perform a sit or a down or a come. I'm not asking any of that. All I want my dog to do is look at me. So when my dog looks up at me, I'm going to use my sound, yes, and then I'm going to deliver a piece of food. And the way that I like to do it is I'm going to be teaching both markers. I'm going to be teaching my continuation marker as well as my terminal marker. I'm going to do these together, and I'm going to demonstrate with a couple different dogs so you can see how it looks. How do we know the dog is conditioned? Well, the way that I like to test this out, if I say yes and then I give the dog a piece of food, and I've been doing this for a little while and I feel like my dog is conditioned to the sound now, meaning the dog knows that when they hear me say yes, they're going to get a reward. I'm going to test out to see if they're conditioned. The way that I do that is I hold the food, I get the dog to look at me. Once the dog looks at me, I say yes, and I don't move. I don't reward the dog. And I watch my dog to see if there's a change of behavior, right? Easy way to do this is imagine you're saying yes and you're giving someone $1. Yes, and you give them $1. They're going to reach out, they're going to take the dollar. You say yes, they're going to reach out, they're going to take the dollar. You say yes, they're going to reach out, they're going to take the dollar. You say yes, you don't give them the dollar, they're still going to reach their hand out. They're going to say, where's the dollar? Every single time you say yes, you give me $1. And that right there will show you that they are conditioned to the sound, meaning they know that when you say yes, you're going to give them $1. It's the same with our dogs. When our dog is looking up at us and we say yes, the four most common behaviors that I will see from a dog when they are conditioned to the sound, one, they open their mouth. So you say yes and they open their mouth, anticipating the food. They start to salivate. They move their paws, yes, or they lick their lips. Those are the four most common. Some of you may have a dog that barks or jumps up a little bit, but the key point that you want to take away from this is that you see a change of behavior. And that's going to let you know that your dog is now conditioned to the sound. What is the difference between a continuation marker and a terminal marker? Well, both of them are pinpointing a moment in time when your dog is correct. So your dog does a sit, you have the continuation marker, or your dog does a sit and you use the terminal marker. Well, the continuation marker is letting our dog know you're correct, but I'm going to bring the reward
to you. This is when we're working on our stays. This is when we're working on stability, or this is also when we're working on duration in a position. The terminal marker lets a dog know you are correct, you are done with the exercise. Some people also call this a release marker, and you can come and get your reward. If I have my dog 10 feet away from me and I tell my dog to sit and my dog's butt hits the ground and I use my continuation marker, my dog is going to get excited because my dog knows that they did the behavior correctly. And now I have to walk over to my dog and give my dog a piece of food in that position because they are continuing the exercise. They are continuing the sit. Then we have the terminal marker. If I had my dog 10 feet away, 20 feet away, 30 feet away, I tell my dog to sit. The moment my dog's butt hits the ground, I use the terminal marker. My dog is going to jump up, come running over to me, and say, "Where's my reward?" So it is terminating the sit, and the dog is coming to get access to their reward. And it's important to develop both of these. It's because it's going to speed up the training and it's going to make the communication way more clear to your dog. Instead of saying the word stay, when we put a dog in a position, the stay is implied. And I'm going to teach you how to do this. So if I tell my dog down and my dog lays down, my dog is in a down stay. I don't have to walk away from my dog saying stay, stay, as you see a lot of people do, or you may have done it yourself. We put the dog in a position and they have to stay there. But when do we know when we can use the continuation marker, and when do we know when we should use the terminal marker? There's a couple ways that I like to use this. In the very beginning when I'm working with my dog, I will use the terminal marker more often than not. But it does depend on the dog. If I have a really, really amped up, excited, crazy dog, I might use the continuation marker a little bit more just to mellow him down a slight bit. But if I'm trying to make the training really fun, really engaging, and more exciting, I'm going to be using my terminal marker a little bit more in the beginning. And there's a couple reasons why. One, if my dog learns the faster I get into my position, the faster I get to jump up and get my reward, they're going to do the behavior more quickly. And speed is based on motivation. The more motivated our dog is, the faster they're going to perform the behavior. Think about playing fetch with your dog. You throw the ball, your dog is really excited and motivated to play fetch, so they run after the ball very quickly. They're not walking because they're excited and they're motivated. So more motivation increases the speed, and it works on the other side too. If a dog is really afraid, so let's say you're a really heavy-handed trainer, and I've seen trainers like this, they're so heavy-handed with their dog, I'm not recommending that you do this, but the dog is moving very quickly because they're afraid of the handler. So they can move very fast based on how motivated they are, whether they're really motivated to get something they want or really motivated to prevent something they don't want. And we're going to try to get them motivated to access something that they want. So we're speeding them up based on that motivation, that positive reinforcement. So the dog learns the faster I get in the position, the faster I get to jump up and get my reward. Well, there's another reason why I like to use my terminal marker in the beginning, because I don't want to reinforce the stay just yet. If I'm not ready to reinforce the stay, if I'm not ready to teach the stay and I'm just teaching behaviors, then using the terminal marker is a really great way to do this. So those are going to be the two things that really separate the continuation marker and the terminal marker. Just remember, continuation, you have to bring the reward to your dog. Terminal marker, your dog can come and get the reward. And this is only if you are giving your dog a command. So if I give my dog the verbal command sit, my dog sits and I say yes, I have to bring it to them. But if my dog sits just because my dog wants to sit, or maybe I lifted my hand up but I did not say the sit command, and I say yes, the dog is not in a sit stay. I only reinforce the stay command when I give the dog a verbal command. If my dog goes to their bed and I say yes, they went to the bed on their own. They're not on a bed stay. But if I told my dog to go to the bed and I said yes, now they're on a bed stay. So that's something to keep in mind. It's only when we give our dog the verbal command that they are in a stay if we use our continuation marker. And the terminal marker always releases them and they're able to get that reward.